A man wielding a machete and shouting Allahu Akbar has attacked 2 female police officers in the southern Belgian city of Charleroi. Police said the assailant died in hospital after he was shot at the scene by a 3rd officer. The policewomen's injuries were not life-threatening. According to Belgian media, one of them sustained deep wounds to her face while the other had minor injuries. The attack happened outside the city's main police station. This woman says the police are there to defend the people and they get attacked. That's something I find hard to take. On Twitter, Prime Minister Charles Michel condemned the attack, saying, "My thoughts are with the victims, their loved ones, and police. We're following this situation closely." Belgium is currently on a security alert level of 3 out of 4. That indicates a possible and probable threat of more terror attacks after Islamist militants killed 32 people in suicide bombings in Brussels in March.
In the state of Kansas, agriculture is king. Along with high yields of corn and soybeans, Kansas is the top wheat-producing state in the U.S., with yields of more than 382 million bushels in 2012, according to the USDA. The secret to this land's bounty is not just the soil that covers it, but also something below ground that no one can see: the Ogallala Aquifer, the largest freshwater aquifer in North America.
For decades, you've had incredible production of agricultural crops on top of this, and largely that's because of the incredible water resources that have been available to it.
The Ogallala Aquifer, also known as the High Plains Aquifer, is a groundwater storage reservoir that stretches 174,000 square miles underneath parts of 8 states, from South Dakota to Texas.
This well here is 303 foot deep.
Stan Townsend, a 6th-generation farmer from Weston, Kansas, grows corn, wheat, pinto beans, and peas on his land. Like many farmers, Townsend depends on the aquifer to irrigate his crops, especially during times of extreme drought.
This country is about weather. and right now it's sure not in our favor.
Today's irrigation technology is able to pump out water that has been in the aquifer for hundreds of thousands of years in just a matter of minutes, a rate which far outpaces how fast nature can replenish it, threatening the overall sustainability of the aquifer and agriculture.
This well over on the southwest was right at a 2,000 gallon minute well, and now all we're getting out is about 600.
According to the Kansas Geological Survey, groundwater levels in the aquifer have dropped an average of 14 feet since 1996, about a foot a year. Aquifer drop rates suddenly doubled, an average of 2 feet a year between the start of 2011 and the end of 2012 alone.
Since about 2011, there's been a significant drought, and this is really across most of the High Plains aquifer. But this area, as well as others, you're now in a period of extreme to exceptional drought.
Now, Macedonia has declared a state of emergency in its capital, Skopje, and neighboring districts after torrential rains battered the region. At least 21 people have been killed in flash floods and 6 are still missing. Infrastructure took a hit, including houses and roads. The government has declared Monday a national day of mourning. Relief operations are now underway with special police forces and the truckloads of drinking water sent to hard-hit areas. The rain has stopped for now and water levels are receding. The European Union has expressed a readiness to help Macedonia, which is a candidate to join the bloc.
At least 40 people are dead after devastating mudslides in eastern Mexico. The now downgraded tropical storm Earl battered hillside communities. Most of the victims were in Puebla State. Mexican television showed hillsides buried under mud, trees felled, and buildings creaking under collapsed walls and roofs. The governor of Puebla State, Rafael Morena Valle, toured the damaged areas on Sunday. He said canine units were searching for those still unaccounted for. Before striking Mexico, Earl battered Belize last week. Mexico's Pacific coast is bracing for another major storm, expected to hit later on Monday.
Good evening. There is an urgent and highly unusual new government warning out today for pregnant women after a jump in the number of confirmed cases of locally contracted Zika in South Florida. The 10 newly identified cases are attributed to homegrown mosquitoes and have affected a neighborhood in Miami, a neighborhood the CDC tonight is urging pregnant women to avoid. Right now, an aggressive Zika testing program is underway there, along with a stepped-up offensive against mosquitoes. Even so, health officials admit there are likely many more undiagnosed cases. NBC's Kerry Sanders has the latest from Miami.
Densely populated Wynwood district in Miami is tonight a no-go zone for pregnant women. The announcement today that there are 10 more suspected cases of homegrown Zika for a total of 14 cases makes it too dangerous. Federal health officials say there will be more people infected not realizing it because the symptoms can be mild.
What we're looking at carefully is it expanding? Is there a place beyond this 1 mile radius that needs to be looked at?
The CDC is now sending emergency teams and advising women returning from the area not to get pregnant for 8 weeks. 12 of the 14 with Zika are men. The Branch family was just tested.
My daughter test is good, but my father, he have the Zika.
Your pregnancy is going well.
Every patient Dr. Adrian Rosnowski saw today had the same worry.
Most of my patients are very anxious. This is their baby that we're talking about.
The phone's ringing with concerns, too.
My primary concern is the apparent connection with microcephaly.
Tracking where Zika patients live, mosquito control districts, now zeroing in on a 1 square mile north of downtown Miami. Entomologists say the Zika-carrying mosquito usually flies no more than 400 yards in any direction and typically dies within 30 days. As emergency teams deploy to fight an enemy that's never been fully defeated, the mosquito, Florida's governor today criticizing Congress for failing to fund the Zika fight.
Now, 10 homes have been evacuated as a more than 1,500-acre blaze continues to grow in the San Bernardino Mountains near Crestline. Good evening. I'm Peter Downs.
And I'm Elsa Ramon. Things are tougher for firefighters tonight because they say they no longer have as much aerial support.
That fire is burning near Crestline between Silverwood Lake and Lake Arrowhead in the San Bernardino National Forest.
KCAL 9's Erica Knocklin is in Summit Valley where the fire is still burning out of control right now. Erica.
Elsa and Peter, the mandatory evacuations are right here in the Summit Valley area east of Cedar Springs Dam, and it is still very windy out here, which is not really helping with these very intense flames that you can see all around us. This is not a heavily populated area, but there are a couple dozen homes that are in the path of this fire. Several homes right here up and down the 173 with those intense flames all around. They're getting closer and closer. Fire crews have been able to call in the night flight helicopter so they can continue to attack this fire into the night hours and the early morning hours. Again, this is 1,500 acres and growing with no containment at this point.
Hello, welcome. You're watching RT International. It's good to have your company this evening. We'll start with that breaking news from Thailand because 2 explosions have hit the resort town of Hua Hin. 1 person has reportedly been killed and 11 injured, including a tourist. Police say bombs were hidden in plant pots before being detonated by mobile phones. We can now cross live to a witness who saw what happened. His name is Shane Brett. He's a tourist from Japan and was there at the time. Shane, thank you very much for coming onto the programme this evening. Please tell us, where were you at the time and what did you see?
An emergency has been declared in the Porto region of northern Portugal, where firefighters are battling widespread wildfires. The emergency plan was activated overnight from Sunday to Monday. Thousands of firefighters have already been deployed, as forecasters say the risk is very high or at its maximum. Everything's caught fire, she says. The firefighters can't do anything. It's all so dry. It's all caught fire. Activating the emergency plan means reinforcements are on their way. I called the Secretary of State, he says, asking for more help to protect our houses, the people, the animals, the businesses, because considering the scale of this fire, we need all the means available in the country.
Atendendo à dispersão e à dimensão deste incêndio, nós precisamos de todos os meios que estejam disponíveis neste país.
Portugal's been spared a major outbreak of forest fires so far this year, but strong winds and high temperatures have fanned the flames over the weekend.
next to Milwaukee. The National Guard called in after simmering tensions between police and residents boiled over. Take a look at this. Businesses and police cars set on fire, protesters hurling rocks at officers, and at least one of those protesters opening fire after police shot and killed a 23-year-old black man they say was armed. Tonight, authorities revealing new details about the threat they say Milwaukee officers are now facing. ABC's Eva Pilgrim is in Milwaukee tonight.
Tonight, the National Guard on alert after a night of chaos. Cars and businesses set on fire as tensions boil over. The angry crowd protesting the deadly police shooting of an allegedly armed black man killed after a traffic stop.
This is the police. Leave the area.
As people ran for cover through smoke-filled mayhem, sounds of gunfire, the crowd targeting police.
Shots fired, shots fired. There's injured officers here. So many rocks coming.
This police car destroyed. Another up in flames. A gas station, an auto parts store, and a bank, 6 businesses in all, torched. It was 3:30 p.m. Police making a traffic stop, and the 23-year-old suspect, now being identified as Seville Smith, was armed. According to authorities, he fled on foot. An officer who was also black ordered him to drop his weapon, and when he didn't comply, fired several rounds, killing Smith. The officer was wearing a body camera.
He had a gun in his hand.
The gun at the scene that we are recovering was stolen in a burglary along with 500 rounds of ammunition.
This man said he was Smith's brother.
It's not going to end today. I can't tell you it's going to end tomorrow. I don't know when it's going to end. But it's for y'all to start. We're not the ones that's killing us. Y'all killing us.
Tonight, the shell of destruction visible. Businesses destroyed. 17 arrested, 4 officers hurt. A 16-year-old girl hit by a bullet in the chaos.
Tom, authorities have not yet released the footage from that officer's body camera, and tonight are hoping there is not a repeat of last night's violence.
An explosion went off just moments ago at a military base outside of Chicago.
Peace and security.
Professor, it says here that the chip could trace the purchases of excessive weaponry and stopping terrorist attacks before they start. Do not get that chip.
He who testifies to these things says, yes, I am coming quickly. Amen. Come, Lord Jesus. That means he can come back at any moment. He can come back right now.